Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back at Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, a warm welcome to anyone who is new here. So, we've had a huge shift and we've looked at where your relationship with your person is going. We recently looked at whether you were moving toward any kind of reconciliation or reunion. So, if you haven't seen that one, you may want to go back and watch that too. We're going to check back in today and see how they're feeling after everything that has happened. So, we've had a shift, we've turned a corner, learned some new things that are coming your way, and their emotions have been through a lot. So let's see how this has impacted things with your person. So, as you know, it's going to be a general reading for all signs, and it won't resonate with everyone. But if it does resonate with you, I would just ask you to hit like. Um, Please share it. Please subscribe so that you can stick with me. And so we're going to go ahead and I think we'll start with this one. We've got the Constellation Tarot that I'm going to read with, and then I'll clarify with the Aquarian Tarot. We'll start with the energetic backdrop between, kind of just the energetic backdrop of the situation that the two of you are in. So it's kind of like the current energy that's flowing between the two of you, but it takes a little bit more of the environment into consideration as well. So it's a little bit that energy that you're swimming around into. It's just sort of the vibe, the overall vibe. And that's the energetic backdrop. So let's see what that... It's interesting because I can kind of already feel it. There's a fogginess to it. We have the Page of Pentacles that has come out. And so the Page of Pentacles is a card of learning. It's a card of being open to learning. So it's not simply that there are lessons here. It's also that the two of you are aware of that and you're aware of the need to take some things in. That's easier said than done sometimes. But you gotta acknowledge, or you guys are at least acknowledging, there's something really positive about that. So we'll see a little bit more when we go to clarify, but there's an openness in that energy that I think is really, really a good thing. Let's see how your person is feeling about you, about just overall about you at this time. Let's see here. So, okay, they are... what we've seen in our previous readings, one of the things that we've seen the Nine of Cups come out a lot, and oftentimes it's about whether or not you've had the opportunity to truly sit back and figure out what it is that would be your wish fulfillment. And so, whereas your person may have thought they knew what they wanted, they learned a little bit more when you came into their lives. And unfortunately, it kind of threw them for a little bit of a loop. So it's kind of an uncomfortable thing. But they've learned something here about the fact that they didn't really have their wish fulfillment. They really didn't know until they met you and had things kind of get shaken up a little bit there. So they are very aware of this right now. There's definitely this feeling of discomfort because they realize that they had been incorrect and they now have to reconsider everything. And this is something that it feels like that they try to stay away from it, or they try to run away from it, but it's really very present for them right now. So let's see. And this is more about how they're feeling about the overall situation, but just how they're feeling about things that we're going to go well beyond you. So They're feeling a little bit confused specifically with regard to you right now because they know that they've got to reevaluate things and they thought they knew what they wanted, but maybe it wasn't so clear. In the overall situation, we've got Columba. Okay, so the Columba card is like the Fool card in this deck. And so it is a matter of jumping into something new, trying new things, doing something that has never, that they've never done before. So maybe even doing it in a new way. So if it's a matter of coming back in your direction. So some of you, when we did the reading a couple days ago about whether or not there would be a reunion or reconciliation, some people we saw that it was probably a little bit farther off. But there was, in some cases, a lot of passion to reconcile or to reunite. And so I'm feeling a lot of that in this, just that the energy is really favorable, that they are feeling like overall maybe this wouldn't be so bad. It doesn't mean they necessarily pick up the phone and contact you, today. I guess they could, but that's not necessarily what that is. But it is definitely that impetus stirring and starting to feel like they want to do something. They want to do something that they haven't done before. Let's see what you can expect. Maybe a little bit about the energy where you're headed. So this is, yeah, okay. So we've got the Six of Swords in reverse. All right. So one thing we know about the energy where you're headed is that it is still kind of a tumultuous emotional situation. Things won't necessarily have settled down just yet. So when we see the Six of Swords in the upright, we know that there's some opportunity for healing because there's opportunity for reflection because things have started to calm down. Here with it in the reverse, we see that things haven't really started to calm down, and this is the energy that you're moving towards. So what this tells us is that the energy is going to be moving for you for a little bit of time to come. We'll learn a little bit more about this in a moment. But let's look at those hidden energies and just kind of understand what it is that you can't see from where you're standing. What can't you see from where you're standing? Maybe it's around the corner. Um, oh, let's see here. So we've got Centaurus. All right. So in the upright, this is like the Hierophant in this deck, the Centaurus card. And so it's feeling like this can be a lot of things. It can be marriage, it can be guidance from a spiritual sense, and that's more what I'm feeling here. So this one is coming up in the reverse, and what it is telling me is that there is insufficient guidance from a spiritual sense, but this is not necessarily something that is known to both of you. It feels like it's a mutual energy, though, and like there's something missing. Not necessarily that the guidance that you're getting or that they're getting is bad, just that there is something that is missing. And it feels to me like it's probably more that intuition, but there's more to it. It's like a type of intuition that comes to the two of you when you're able to um, work concurrently. So not necessarily when you're working together on something, but when you're both off in, working on your own things, there is something that happens to the two of you, and the energy that binds you that helps you to grow. It also helps to provide you some messages about how to move forward. And that's the piece that, it was hard to describe. That's the piece that, feels like it needs a little bit of love, needs a little bit of strengthening right now. So it's about getting into that meditation and really just being able to listen to the messages that are there. Let's look to see what else you can be doing right now to be prepared for what you're headed toward. Okay, and we've got the Venus card in reverse. And what it's saying is you can't really be prepared. You're going to, by definition, this is going to be a learning thing. So you're moving toward a situation where, as we saw, the energy is still a little bit in motion. It's still a little bit tumultuous. There's a lot going on. There's not much that you're going to be able to do to be prepared for it before it happens because it's it's not something that you have experienced before. It's something that you really just kind of have to change your approach, because you won't be able to specifically be prepared for it. Be sure that you're doing what you can to connect up with your with that connection between the two of you and some of the wisdom that wants to come from that. That's really interesting. I think we might have to look into that one a little bit, when we get into the extended here in a little bit. Just kind of what that means and what else you guys are going to have to do. For now, let's go ahead and start clarifying. So I've got the Aquarian Tarot. We're going to start here with the Page of Pentacles. Oh, right away, we've got the High Priestess coming out in reverse. And it's interesting that it fell on this Centaurus in reverse because it's giving me some of that same feeling. That's the High Priestess in reverse, and it's talking about intuition and a connection to the intuition not quite being fully established. So it makes it a little bit tougher to learn. It's like that's part of where the information comes in. So this is something where you'll wanna keep trying. So one of the things that has been coming up lately in some of the readings is that there's this almost it's difficult. There's almost this difficulty hearing the intuition, reading the intuition, feeling the intuition. It's coming up in personal readings. It's coming up on the YouTube readings periodically. And it even has come up in, periodically in a couple of the cards of the day. And I think I even say something about it at one point. But it's just, ooh, is that more than one? Yeah, it's just that it's not always simple to figure out how to access that intuition. Sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes it just comes to you. And then there are other days that are not like that. So if you're having days that aren't like that, just keep at it, without judgment. Don't be too frustrated. It's something that can happen periodically. Okay, and we've got the Hanged Man. We've got that new perspective. This is important. Okay, so this new perspective is part of what you're here to learn. It's also part of what's going to set you up for being able to manage this energy that is a little bit difficult, a little bit tumultuous, that energy of things that hasn't yet quite calmed down, and that, you've got things coming your direction that you won't be ready for because these are things you won't have experienced yet. Let's take a look at this Nine of Cups. So this Nine of Cups in reverse, about how they're feeling, they realize they've had to reassess basically everything about the situation. So we've got the Five of Cups in reverse that's given them, again, new perspective. So we have new perspective over here, and we have new perspective over here. So new perspective here is a little bit different because basically, when we have the Five of Cups in the upright, it is, you see this person is focused on the cups that are knocked over and not on the ones behind them that are still full of possibility. Okay. And when you have it in the reverse like this, then it's a matter of being able to also take in the portion where there's all the possibilities. So it's not just registering the piece that's not that didn't go your way. It's also registering the pieces that still could. So it's a more well-rounded thing. It doesn't necessarily get rid of the bad feelings or the regretful feelings. It just puts them into perspective in a way that allows you to kind of work around them. And that's what healing is all about. So there's something about your connection that has helped your person really kind of heal that way. And then we also have the King of Rods. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of attraction, a lot of ability to really charge forward in your person's emotion. It's rods, so it's fire, but I'm getting a lot of passionate emotion here. And the rest of it, I guess that's not surprising. It's reflecting off of a bunch of cups, which cups are going to be emotion, but your person has had to reevaluate the way they think about what they want. They've had to reevaluate reevaluate what wish fulfillment actually means, but they've got a broader perspective with which to do it now, and a lot of an ability and passion to be able to move forward. There's a lot in here about a new perspective as well, so this is pretty fabulous. That learning environment, that's really beneficial as well. Just got to make sure that you're able to connect up with that intuition and that higher self. Let's go ahead and look at this Columba card, which, like I said, is the equivalent of like the Fool. And it is what your person is feeling about the overall situation. So we have the Seven of Rods, which is a card of confidence. So it's not so much just that they want to be able to move forward, it's also that they feel fairly confident. But there's a catch. There's something here that makes things more difficult, that stands in the way. There could be a person in the way, there's a circumstance in the way, could just be, in a couple of your cases, it's literally just your person's crippling fear that causes them not to be able to move forward. But for the vast majority of you, it's going to be something a little bit more concrete. So it's going to be a relationship that stands in the way, or some sort of living situation, some sort of real life situation that stands in the way, but not in the way of them having the emotion of wanting to reach out and knowing that they would be very successful if they did so. So that's really interesting. That's an interesting thing. It's almost like an extension of how they feel about you. So there is this almost sort of shocked, difficult feeling here while they realize they've got to reassess and reevaluate some things. But there's so much that's positive. It's opened up their perspective, it's opened up new things for them, their ability to look at it and just be able to honestly, cleanly want to charge forward. And we see that here. The confidence, they know it would go well, even though there is something that gets in the way, makes it feel like there's not a choice. To be able to move forward. So let's take a look at the Six of Swords here. This is the energy that is kind of in the direction where you guys are going. In the energy where you guys are going. So let's see what this is. We've got the Two of Cups coming out in reverse. So during this time, it will be difficult to be partnered. It will be difficult to be together. This is where the healing hasn't yet really, some of it hasn't begun. Some of it you can't do the reflection because it's still too tumultuous. And in that, this is like healing that has to happen while you guys are in separation. So and you don't have to be in complete separation for it, but it is not healing that gets done in union or in togetherness. It's something that even if you are a soulmate couple that has already come back into union, there may be some items that have to be addressed very much individually, and it feels like we've got some of that here. But there is also still this glue that holds the two of you together, and it's like an attraction. It's like a being impressed with one another kind of feeling. I don't know how to describe it any better than that, because I have to dip down into the feeling. I'm like, oh, it's a feeling of being impressed, and I'm like, well, maybe there's a better word for that, but I feel like there is an attraction in something that is like a glue and holds the two of you together even as you move through this tumultuous emotional time. Let's take a look at this Centaurus card. So this is like the Hierophant in reverse. It's about that spiritual guidance that, again, not so much that you aren't getting any spiritual guidance, just that there is something that's missing here. So I think that was all that came out. So we've got the King of Swords that came out in reverse, as well as the Ten of Cups that has come out in reverse. All right, so this is a very discerning and important time from a logical standpoint or from a thinking standpoint. You cannot allow thinking to take over, though. There still has to be the emotional side. There still has to be the feeling side, has to very much weigh into this. But there's a feeling of needing to really truly be able to discern, and we've said it before. When we have that 10 of cups come out, sometimes we have something that seems like it's a little too good to be true. It's a matter of determining if that's true or not, because sometimes it is. Sometimes, oh, it's too good to be true. Other times you're dealing with the real thing. And you need to be able to determine how you want to address that, because there's a lot of gray area. And to determine this, it really helps you navigate that gray area and just kind of figure out, well, how do I want to handle this now that I know a little bit more about the situation that I'm in? So let's take a look at this Venus card here that is in the reverse. And this was, what can you be doing now to be better prepared for what you're headed toward? And we know that what you're headed toward is a situation where there's some tumultuous emotion. It's healing that has to be done. Whether or not you're in union, this is healing that has to be done on your own. But there will be a glue that kind of binds you together even as you move through this difficult period. But what do you need to do? And the answer that first came out was there's not much that you're going to be able to do to truly be able to prepare yourself for this. So let's see what else wants to come out for this, because that's interesting. We know that it's like new truths have been coming out a lot in some of these readings. For a while, it was the Ace of Swords was coming out in every reading. And now here recently, we've seen it just, coming out in other ways, showing up in other parts of the reading, just that there is still new truth that you and your person are having to navigate, having to figure out how it fits into your life. Let's see, that's a single card. So we have the Knight of Rods that's in reverse, as well as, look at this, you guys, Ace of Swords, honorable mention. It's not going to be laid out on the table, but it's just to go ahead and reinforce. That's right. We've got some new truths. That's what the Ace of Swords really stands for us. But some new truths that are coming out that take some effort to assimilate. It's not necessarily easy for you to work through getting these new truths into your life, into the way you think, into the way that you see things. There will be a situation that is going to test you, and we have seen this a couple of times here, but it's a situation that is going to test your ability to make sure that you are able to speak up for yourself and get what is needed on your side for you to be happy, okay? And then there's also um there's okay, so you're going to enter into a situation either with your person or with someone else that is going to cause you to be reminded of your time with this person. It will potentially trigger you in a very similar way, and you will be put in a place where you kind of aren't necessarily prepared for it, but have to respond, have to think about it. And so understanding how your person feels is going to be helpful in this. And so it's, that's really what this reading is for. And so we see a lot of how they're feeling up here, and then maybe how this can help you as you think about what you might do maybe is more down here. So I think as we go into the extended, we're going to look a little bit more deeply into both of those things. We'll look into how your person is feeling and just kind of get a little bit more of the emotion on that. Although, like I said, we see a lot of what's going on here. There is this sense that even though they've really been shaken up, even though there's something here that makes them feel like they don't have much of a choice in the matter, they still really feel like they want to move your direction. They feel like things would go well if they did that. They would be able to navigate that. But here it's clear that there is some work that still has to be done individually. So if you're in separation, this may be work that has to happen before you guys are able really to come back together. But you're going to experience something that reminds you of this situation, gives you an opportunity to sort of test what you've learned. In the meantime, though, it's going to be important for the both of you to really be discerning when you run into new situations. Be discerning, think it through, don't rush. make sure that you allow that intuition, allow the connection with your higher self to come in. And there is something that happens when the two of you, just the energy connects. And then when you start learning, it impacts your person. So we've seen that before. I've said that before. I'm getting that feeling pretty strongly here again. I think it's impacting you guys as you're going through some new lessons. So, we're going to go ahead and stop there. We'll go ahead and go into the extended. So the link will be down there for that one down below over on my Vimeo page. We're going to dig a little bit more into how your person is feeling and this energy that's kind of coming your way, and what you can be doing to truly prepare for that, even though it's clear that you can't be completely prepared for what's coming. By the same token, there are things that will probably better arm you for the situation. So we'll look into that. So if this one has resonated for you, I would just say, first off, thank you for watching. Please hit like and then subscribe so we can stick together. I'll see you in the extended, or I'll see you in a future reading.